Well, I said good morning. Oh my goodness, it's afternoon over here. Hello, everybody. We've got some friends in the chat. I'm seeing some familiar names and also some new friends too. So hello, everyone, for being here. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have fun today, and I'm so excited to be crafting with you. Oh my goodness, let's see. Who do we've got in the chat? We've got, just from what I can see, we've got Jackie and Marion and Sylvia. Sylvia, your prize pack from last week will go out today. I had to get an envelope and it's on its way, I promise you. Hello, Joy and Pamela and Wendy. We've got Wolf Mama, Scrappy Wolf Mama, and Michelle. Hello, everybody. Thank you. And Kristen, of course. Hello, and Dana. Y'all are so sweet. Thanks for being here. I always like to take time just to say hello. Oh my God, goodness. We have friends from San Diego, from hot San Diego. It is warm here, so probably not. Maybe as warm as San Diego. San Diego's got some of my favorite weather in the country, so love it, love it. 109 in Phoenix. Oh my goodness, that is a good stay inside and craft day, Jackie. Absolutely. And hello, Carrie. Thanks for being here. Carrie, I will try my best to not inspire you to purchase anything today, but as always, no guarantees. Oh my goodness. And Paul, or Paulie, if you go by Paulie, I apologize. Thanks for being here. All right, friends. Marcy says it's 95. Yeah, that's definitely warmer than the Chicago suburbs. So thank you, friends, from being here for being here. We're gonna have some fun today. I pulled some Altenew products and we are going to use them to make what I like to call kind of shortcut scene building. There are a couple things that we can do with our cards just to sort of take advantage of our papers, take advantage of our designs, and take advantage of things that we probably already have in our stash to make our cards a little bit on the easy side. And that's what I love to do. I love cards that look like they take a long time to put together, but they don't really do it. And we're going to do it today. And I'm thinking about an hour. Today's live stream shouldn't be like last week. We did 2 cards. Oh my gosh, using that amazing brand new Pink and Main August release. We made those adorable sweater cards. You can actually see one right over my shoulder. There we go. There we go. I always got to forget how I got to move my hand. But there's one of the cards we did with that beautiful leaves and acorns layering stencil. So my goodness. Before we get going, and I'll just let you guys know offhand because it is in the comments already. I do have a special promo code that's valid on the Altenew website. So if anything today inspires you to make a purchase, if you've had a cart that you've been waiting for a promo code that you want to kind of add a couple things to your stash, I do have a special promo code that's Justin 5 off. That is for the promo code. It is 5 and then the letter O, not the number 0. I also have a link in the bio as well that you can click and it'll automatically add it to your cart, and that'll get you $5 off your purchase of $55 or more. I'll remind you guys about it later on in the chat, or in the live, but I just wanted to go ahead and put that out there if anyone's been kind of toying around with the idea of making an Altenew purchase, or stick around towards the end of this live and maybe I'll inspire you to make that purchase anyways. So we'll go back to my face for a second, and then hello all my friends. Oh my goodness, so many wonderful people in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. We've got Kalinda and of course Sylvia likes my shirt. I appreciate it. I bought this in Hollywood Studios, I believe, on a previous trip. I don't remember which previous trip, but I did buy it at Disney World, which is, don't get me on a spiral because we're going to talk about that forever. All right, so let's flip down to my overhead camera, and I've got my stamp wheel ready to go. I'm looking right now, and oh, you know what? I've got to move my lights just a little bit, so don't lose me, friends. I'm just going to move these out a little bit. I forget that sometimes I put them a little bit too close, and that'll work. And then let's also grab a brush while we're at it, because I'm going to need that in a little bit. And then I do have my stamp wheel ready to go. Now, in the description, I do have the 2.0 listed for a stamp wheel. We're using the original stamp wheel today. They're both amazing. The stamp wheel 2.0 is bigger and has a removable arm, so it gives you more flexibility. Hello, Marisha. I was so excited that you saw my video that I posted this week. Side note for a second, friends. Marisha, if you do not follow her, make sure to. She is one of our upcoming scrapbook facebook.com SBC Fest instructors for the September 11th SBC Fest. And I put a video out earlier this week playing with her kit, and it is so much fun. Marisha, hot air balloons are one of my favorite things to create with. Some of my favorite sets that I own are hot air balloon related. So I loved and adored playing with your kit. So make sure to check that out, guys. I've got the video with inspiration on my channel. It came out this Wednesday. And make sure to go give Marisha some love because her work is absolutely stunning. So thank you for being here, friend. So we're going to start with our stamp wheel. And let's talk about what products we're going to be using today. So I have really two main Altenew products that we're going to be using, and then we're going to embellish it with some glitter cardstock, and we're also going to use some embellishments. But I'm going to be using the Timeless Sentiments 3 and the Chestnut Tree layering die. Now, we're going to use this chestnut tree as a green tree, even though we're going in and doing a wintry feel with it. Is this realistic? I don't believe chestnut trees stay green in the winter, but who's going to know? You know, we're just going to roll with it and we're going to have fun with it. And also too, I feel like this tree itself has kind of piney, wintry vibes to it already. So we're going to capitalize on that and just move forward. And then we're going to use a sentiment from the Timeless 3 sentiment set. And that's going to be for our card. It's all going to come together so perfectly. I've got a really fun color palette that I'm excited to share too. So let's start by, how about we start by putting our chestnut tree together? So I've got my stamp wheel. I'm going to remove the protective sheet. And I'm not even using my stamp wheel today to stamp with. We're just going to utilize it as a blending platform, like a grid mat. So let's go in, grab our dies. And I have gone and die cut our chestnut tree dies ready to go. I did use Concord and Ninth cardstocks for this. So this is eucalyptus, this is clover, and this is spruce. Because there are two trees and then a forest, I believe. That sounds right. Is it spruce? Let's see. It's juniper. Okay, juniper. Juniper is another type of tree. So it's eucalyptus, juniper, and then rainforest. Those are the trees. And then for our branch, I'm using its cocoa. And these are going to be really easy to put together, but I do want to do a little bit of ink blending with them first. So let's put one of our layers down. And I'm also going to put, we'll do those second. And let's grab, I've got some inks ready to go. Now, do these inks fully coordinate? They don't. But we're just going to kind of roll with it in hopes that they darken my edges nicely. And I am going to go in with some Mossy Meadows just to sort of distress the edge a little bit. So I'm going to take this and we're just going to add this to the edges, and it's just going to kind of give a little bit of a variation in color. And this is also a little bit more yellow than the paper, so it's going to have a different little bit of a cast to it. I like doing that with my trees, just giving them some fun multicoloredness. So I'm just going to kind of blend that a little. And then just add a little bit with that. And I'm going to carefully pull it up because there's this wee little piece connecting these two major pieces. And then I'm also going to go in, and we'll wipe it off really lightly, just to kind of get it slightly cleaned. Right, just like that. All right, so we're going to clean that off, and then I'm going to put my eucalyptus paper down. And I kind of on second thought could have definitely gone in with a little bit more of a bluish green, but we'll be fine. I'm not too concerned about it. I know the final card is going to be super pretty. So I'm going to go in next with some Misty Sage. Just kind of tap that off and then distress the edges with this, just like that, just for a nice variation in color. And if you've recently joined the chat and I didn't say hello, I am so sorry. Hello, all of my friends. I see Mary from Oregon. I see Linda. I see our friend under piles of paper. Thanks for being here. All right, so I'm just kind of going in, distressing these a little bit, just like that, just to give it some fun edges. All right. I also realized when I was pulling my inks, I need to add some Altenew inks to my collection because I could use a little bit more variety with my colors. I've got my core color groups, which I'm happy about, but you can always use more. And I try my best to not commit to full set syndrome. And there are some stamps out or inks out there that I I worry about going full set syndrome with because there's so many. Altenew has a lot of inks, a lot of inks. So I don't want to go overboard with them, but I do love them and they work really nicely with everything that they have in their lineup. All right, so we've got our tree elements and we can start to put that together. I'm going to take my stamp wheel. I'm not going to put the cover back on because we're going to use it in a little bit. And let's just kind of start putting this together. All right, so we've talked before about keyhole systems, which is Altenew's system of layering dies that look, I'm just going to be like casual about it. They look really complicated and they use this keyhole system and they're super easy. So we're going to use that to our advantage and we are going to layer them up. So if you see, let me show you. So there are these dies. There's the tree, there's the big part of leaves, middle part of leaves, small part of leaves, along with an add-on. And what you want to do is appropriately layer the keyholes. So what we're gonna do is the trunk is gonna get layered actually on top of the darkest large layer like this. All right. You know what, Michelle? I know they have the new round ones to match. And I know that can, of course, cause a little bit of change up with your storage. Let's hope that there's some storage options that become available that are just as easy to use and utilize than maybe what you're using for your square ones. Because I'm sure whenever there's a design, it's never to make it like an inconvenience, but just to kind of promote the product. But sometimes those changes, of course, are needed, you know? It happens. All right, so I am going to layer this up with the first keyhole. So let's go ahead and do some liquid adhesive. Now, I have people ask me kind of often, but not a lot of time during our live streams, because I do have it linked in the comments, what my liquid adhesive of choice is. And I always default to using Ultra Bond adhesive, which is iCraft. That's what's on the label. I can show you the bottle, but it's ThermoWeb. And I have always loved the ThermoWeb adhesive. I, back in the day, used to be on the ThermoWeb team, which I had so much fun with. And I still have so much ThermoWeb product that I work myself through. But ThermoWeb has some really fantastic liquid adhesive in multiple sizes. So even though I'm using my Misty Precision glue press, I'm using it with Ultra Bond adhesive inside of it, because that's the nice thing about the Precision Glue Press is even though it comes with Nuvo adhesive, which is totally fine, you can use whatever adhesive you want with it because you can buy empty bottles. So I do use that. The other adhesive I want to use new is the Gina K matte adhesive, because I feel like that would be a really nice adhesive to use. I haven't played with it yet, but I own like 2 bottles of it. All right, so we're gonna line up these keyholes just like that. And that's gonna allow this to be layered really nicely on top. And I probably should have tapped off a little bit of that because I don't like getting that under adhesive smudge. So I'm trying very carefully to push it down with my fingers, but also allow my fingers to pull up any sort of excess adhesive. But it looks like we lined that up pretty perfectly. And then what we're gonna do next is take our second layer and do that. So we're going to do it right on top of there. So this keyhole is going to line up with this layer, but as you can see, a new keyhole kind of takes place that's going to allow us to layer up beyond this. All right. Hello, Sean. Thanks for being here. Friends, I didn't share this with you, but I had the pleasure a couple weeks ago of meeting Sean in person at the Schomburg Scrap and Stamp Book Expo. Scrap and Stamp Book. That's not what it is. It's Stamp and Scrapbook Expo. And it was such a pleasure to meet him. And Sean, we have not made any decisions whether or not we're going to come up to see the touring production of Oh Mary, but I promise if we do, I will keep you in the loop. Promise, promise. I don't know if I've got any theater friends out there. Me and my husband love going to shows. And something also that I don't talk about too often, One of my favorite television shows is called RuPaul's Drag Race, and it's currently, oh my gosh, they're going to air their 19th season is coming up. They just finished the 18th season, and one of the queens who've won one of their all-star seasons is doing the lead of the O'Mary tour, but only in select dates, and they're gonna, the last date that they're gonna be participating in is in Minneapolis, and then they're going to Chicago, but then the lead is changing. And I'm like, oh, do we go and do it? But I don't know if we're going to make it. I also get a little nervous of traveling during those months when it's like a road trip sort of situation, just because it's snow. So I don't know if we'll make it or not, but it's a really nice idea too. And we'll just kind of see what happens, because it would be a nice surprise if we could make it happen. We'll see. Who knows? All right, so I'm using my liquid adhesive. I want to kind of pressure, make sure this is all lining up. It was really fun to meet you, Jean. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Wolf Mama, I am definitely going to have to play with that matte adhesive. I have 2 bottles of it because I'm like, I know I'm going to like it. I just haven't done it. Marion, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, so Alaska's going to be in it. So I'm very, very excited for her. I think that's incredible. And of course, if I have any other Drag Race fans out there, you also know that Jinx Monsoon was the lead on, I think it's considered on Broadway. She played the lead in New York City. Which is really, really exciting. We actually, after Jinx did her O'Mary run, shortly after she went over to the UK and she opened up her 8-week run, or 6-week run possibly, of Over the Rainbow, which is a Judy Garland story. And we went to go see that. And oh my God, that was so good. We were going to be in London anyway because we were seeing Cynthia Erivo in Dracula. And then when that got added on, I'm like, well, we kind of have to go see that. So we did that, and that was really exciting. We love our theater. I haven't seen a good show in Chicago. Well, you know what? That's a lie. Over the summer, the last show that we actually went to go see was it was called Ice Boy, and it was by Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman. I almost called him Jim Offerman, and they were both in it. So we went and saw them in that, and that was actually fantastic because I'm a huge Megan Mullally and Will and Grace fan. And I know, of course, she's in other shows too. I mean, she's quite well known. But Karen from Will and Grace is kind of like one of the most iconic characters. So we saw her in it. We were actually able to get really good deals on front row seats. They were like less than $100, which for theater tickets is kind of crazy. So we got like really great views of everything. So, all right, so I've got this all lined up. Sorry for the tangent. I'm loving how with all these keyholes that this layers up so nicely, and I'm really loving all of these colors together. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is delightful. And it's really kind of not, it doesn't look like it's perfect, which is why I love it. There's a little bit of like, the layers don't like fully look like, oh, like the branches are all contained into the leaves. No, there's branches that go like beyond some of the leaves, and oh, this is really fun. All right, so I'm loving this. So we've got that situated. I also want to go ahead and work on our background. So we're going to pull our stamp wheel back out. And oh, she's so good, Sylvia. Oh, one of my favorites. And we are going, I'm realizing right now I didn't do an A2 size card base, so we'll get to that later. So I'm putting a piece of stark white cardstock. This is from Simon Hurley, and I'm going to put it kind of down. And I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do with this cardstock to make it work for a shortcut. My go-to shortcut with scene building is using colored cardstock, except with snow. Because if we're doing a wintry scene, I want the line on the bottom, I want the ground to be white. Use the white of the paper. I always say use your paper to your advantage when you're trying to come up with a shortcut, because we're going to use this and we're going to blend down. We're going to make it kind of like an ombre and try our best to blend it into the white of the paper, which means my hand's going to have to get real light towards the bottom. But that's why we're going to use this stark white cardstock. So let's start in, I've got a multicolor blend. We're going to start with Aqualicious and start blending that up. And I'm using some of Simon's blending brushes as well. I'm going to tap that off, and we're just going to go from the top down. And I'm just going to kind of keep bringing this color down because I'm building this up with 4 ink colors. So I'm just kind of making sure to bring it down as best as I can and to get it to fade into the white of the cardstock. Now I'm also trying to kind of bring my face a little further back because I do have a tendency to spray while I'm talking during my live streams, which is not a problem you would think, except when you accidentally spit onto your paper and then you blend over it and then you get a dark mark like that. And I'm not super worried about it because it's going to be pretty dark once we get up to that part of the paper, but you don't want to do that, you know? Oh my gosh, Michelle, some of the trees from Altenew, the majestic maple is been sitting in my cart for quite some time. And I think I'm going to have to get it because it is just super pretty. And it's also like a really big die too. And I love that. So if we've got any new friends coming in, hello, hello. Thanks for being here, everyone, and spending part of your Saturday with me. I am so appreciative. Now, I am an Altenew brand ambassador, and what that means is that I'm part of a program that I'm able to kind of bring special opportunities and offerings through Altenew to my friends and my fans is a weird term for me to say, but people who follow me, all of you I consider part of the Just a Note family. So there are opportunities that I get to bring your way. So like today's promo code is because of my relationship with Altenew as a brand ambassador. And then also too, I'm able to do giveaways on my page. So we've got giveaways that I do. Really fun. And I love that Altenew does a program like this that I can be a part of and be supported. So I'm really excited that I'm able to bring this all to you and show the Altenew products that I absolutely love. Do you like the flat brushes better for blending? So I do, Lori. I'm going to have to, oh my gosh, Crafter Gal, I'm going to have to go back to your comment. But I do like flatter brushes. I think for the way that I craft, I think flat brushes do really good when you want to have like a wide area of things. I think that the domed brushes work better on smaller images. That is my opinion. I am such a fan of these Simon Hurley brushes, you guys. Oh my goodness. They are some of my absolute favorites. I have them both in large and small, or medium and small, technically. All right, so Crafter Girl says she just used this dye a couple weeks ago and had no idea there are two keyholes on the top layer. They look like gaps in the tree. So, okay, that is, I don't think that that's, I mean, it's kind of funny, you know, because of course you try to do your best to put everything together, but there are keyholes that you want to try and line up. And the one you want to try to cover up because they always offer those layers to cover them. So, all right, so using this Aqualicious, I think we've done a pretty good job of blending it into the white of the paper. And then, so what we're going to do next is we're going to move on to our next color. And this is just going to take some time doing our ink blending and chit-chatting and talking about our favorite things. But let's talk about other events that are coming up while I'm blending. So if you haven't already heard, I am participating in the Holiday Magic virtual event from Pink and Main. We're moving on right now to Teal Cave. We'll make sure that's visible. So if you are interested in joining, the event is November 7th and 8th, and it's virtual, of course, so anybody can join. And you're going to get an amazing package of product to work with. And then across 2 days, we've got 8 instructors, so 8 opportunities to take classes and learn some really fun techniques and card making tips with the products that are available. So if you haven't yet, I will make sure to add the link down below for that. So if you're interested, you can register. And then of course you'll receive your packet. They'll give you homework in terms of what to get ready for your classes. And then you'll be able to either, of course, craft along live with us, or you can also just catch the replay if that's what works best. Whatever works best for you. Next thing that I wanted to talk about is World Card Making Day, which even though it's October 3rd, that is fully coming up, which is absolutely just wild to me. But I don't know if you saw yesterday, but Craft Roulette just announced their World Card Making Day event and their lineup, and I'll be part of the Craft Roulette World Card Making Day. So I'm going to have a spot on for Craft Roulette to make a card with everybody. Of course, I have no idea yet what I'm going to be making, and I'm sure it's going to be a fun time. So make sure to mark your calendars accordingly for World Card Making Day. That's really exciting. All right, so we're just kind of blending in with that teal cave. Just kind of keep going, getting our paper nice and blended. Question again, isn't your new puppy one of your favorite things now? Absolutely, Lori. Conway is always going to be one of my favorite things. We were just trying to get him to go outside, and I don't want to get graphic, but go to the bathroom. And he was being a little stubborn, so I told my husband if he has to take him, because the door to outside is through my craft den. So I'm like, if you have to take him, it's not a problem. So please take him. All right. It'll be really fun with the Craft Roulette crew. Absolutely, Sylvia and Kalinda. So I'm really excited for that. And you know Mary Gunn's going to put on a great show. I know Kelly Marie Alvarez from Altenew is going to be there. Carissa Wiley. My friend Irene is going to be there, who's from Artemis Made One. Those are the people that immediately come to mind, but I know that there are more that I'm missing off the top of my head. They just announced the full lineup yesterday. So I'm just going off of who I remembered seeing on it. I think Amanda Stevens with Pear Blossom Press is going to be there, of course. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of what else I have to announce. Of course, if you've registered for the Halloween Wishes event through Scrapbook and Cards Today, which is on Saturday, September 19th, I will be there. I'm really excited to be crafting along with Megan Andrew and Kathy Z, and of course, Jennifer McGuire is going to be there. I believe that registration has closed for that, though there might be some openings in case they have extra products. So make sure to check the website and see if you're interested, if you missed on registering for that. Doesn't this ink blending look really pretty? We started with white paper, so I really love that. I love these colors. Just kind of going in and blending just like that. Just kind of trying to bring it down like that. Perfect. Oh, yay, Sylvia. I'm so glad that you got it. It's incredible. When I saw the kit, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is stacked with stuff. There's so many fun elements in there. And then Elaine, teals are like my favorite to work with. And Joey, thank you for reminding me that May May is going to be there. Yes, May May Helms will be at Craft Roulette World Card Making Day, so that's going to be super fun. Scrappy Wolf Mama's looking forward to Halloween Wishes, absolutely. And then I'm going to finish this off with some Arctic Mountain, which is like a navy, to get that nice dark blue winter night sky feel on the top of this card. So I'm just going to kind of go in with that. A good navy ink is essential for any sort of wintry sky making. All right. Just kind of blend that down, just like that. All right. Perfect. All right, so I've got that. That looks pretty good. I like how we have that ombre going from this dark Arctic blue into the white of the cardstock. I'm just kind of making sure to go over this so everything feels nice and blended, and I think that it does. And this tree is going to really line up nicely. Okay, and we're also going to layer over the tree as well, so we have things to do. Things to do, and we will get there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do next is I think we need to adhere our tree to our card. So let's pull this up really gently. Try not to bend too much. We'll do a little bit of cleanup first. Let's also do a little bit of splattering. We have all this extra ink that's on our mat. Why not add to it and do some splatter work? So I am going to use that Arctic Mountain ink that's on my mat, pick it up with a clean watercolor brush, and then just splatter, because why not? And I know it's getting into the white. That doesn't bother me. In fact, I think it looks pretty cool. All right. Oh, how pretty is that? All right, so we've got our panel, and it's splattered right now with that blue Arctic Mountain dark ink, and then we'll start doing our cleanup. So I'm putting my inks to the side, grab my water. Always think about when you're using a glass mat and you've got to do a little bit of cleanup, what you could possibly use that ink for. So every once in a while, I'll do like an ink smush technique just to save cardstock for later. Little things like that. I think it'll work nicely. All right. So I'm going to pick this up, clean off my brush, and we've also got to clean off, I do want to clean off my Stampwheel, grip mat. Now, don't forget, like I had mentioned, I'm not going to plug it a bunch, but I'll do it now, and I'll remember to do it before we sign off. Next, the $5 off promo code, which is Justin5off, that you can use to get $5 off your purchase of $55 or more on the Altenew website. I've also got the promo code listed in the description below, along with a link that you can use that'll automatically add it to your cart. All right, so we got all this. Trying to do my best to clean up. I like to stay clean as I'm doing my whole crafting process. Oh my goodness, Pocono Pam's here. Hello, friend. Thank you for being here. So excited to see you. I've been following Pam for a while. How exciting. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to just sort of clean this up, cover it up. Another thing that I did with my stamp wheel, I don't know if you've noticed, but I put enamel dots in the center and then at 4 of the corners, if you can call it that. But I put them basically at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And that way, because the stamp wheel, because I can turn it, I can know how many things I'm turning. So I can just sort of count that way, and it allows me to sort of keep track. Listen, we've all got extra enamel dots in our stash. Like, we have to. You know, it's just us. And I was like, I'm only going to have to part with 4 of them. So it's a great technique. And you know what? If you try it and you don't like it, you can pop them right off and not have a problem with it. So, all right. So let's keep going. I'm going to put this all away. I've got my little carrying container along with my little accessories for my stamp wheel. I've got my corners. I must have bought an extra grip mat at some point, or maybe it's just for the one that's on here already. And then I can put that away. All right, let's go in next and let's adhere our tree. And I'm going to adhere my tree first before we do our next scene building element. What I also want to do is we're using the sentiment from Timeless Sentiments 3 that's all is calm, because I think it's going to work perfectly. I just want to make sure that I map this out, that it feels right. And I'm using this red glitter cardstock because it's really going to pop. I kind of figured that because it's a holiday-ish card, the use of red and green together is appropriate, but I also am a huge fan of using red with teals. I think it's really pretty. So I thought this would work. Let's see. And I know it's going to work. So I'm just kind of playing around with this. I think we're going to do it like that is how I want my sentiment. And I know it's covering up part of the tree, and the truth is, I don't mind. I think we're going to do it just like that. All right. The first you've heard of craft roulette, and it looks awesome. Absolutely. Craft roulette is really fun. It's a great way if you're ever feeling like you're in a little bit of a crafty slump. They have so many easy ways to like just get a little bit of inspiration and really challenge you to use your craft stash to make something. They also have a wonderful community that they've created of people, and they also have just started, not just, I think, believe they started last year, doing an annual live in-person event called Paper Ganza, or Paper Ganza, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And I think theirs just wrapped up about 2 weeks ago. It's usually in August. I'm still thinking, do I want to do it like that? Yeah, I think I want to do it like that. We're going to do it on this side. Usually I default to my sentiments on the right side of my cardstock, but I'm like, you know what, on this one, let's do it on the left, because I've got this little gap in the tree that I think I can use to my advantage. All right, we gotta wipe that off. All right, so this is all adhered. We'll get to our sentiment in a moment, but we need to do more scene building. And what are we gonna do next is we're gonna do more splattering, but we're gonna do it with acrylic paint. So my thought is, let's make it look like there's some snowfall going on. And what we will do is we will splatter just right on top of our card with the tree on there. So I've got to grab my splatter box, and I'm hoping it's easy for me to grab. That wasn't too bad. Didn't want to be too incriminating. All right, so we're going to put my splatter box up here. And then I'm just grabbing a white acrylic paint that I have on hand, this is Dina Wakley's Media Acrylic Paint in white. Whatever white paint you have will absolutely work. But one of my tips is when I do a live stream, I like to put any of my paints and metallic mediums onto an acrylic block because it's a pain if I put it right on my glass mat to clean it. Okay, last year's was July, this year's was August because of World Cup. Okay, that makes sense. So it's in July usually. My mistake. I knew it was in August because I saw a couple crafty friends the weekend right before it, and they were all excited talking about it. So that makes sense. Oh, okay. So it was called Paper Gonza last year, but then this year it was called Craft Roulette Live. So the name slightly. Regardless, it sounds like an amazing time, and it really sounds like everybody had so much fun. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to my acrylic paint, and then we're going to pick it up with my acrylic brush as best as I can, and let's start splattering. And I'm doing this at this step because we still have other things to work on, and I just want to make sure that I'm giving enough time for it to dry. So this is going to splatter. Now, the other thing you could add as well is if you had like a clear shimmer splatter, that would be really pretty on this. Oh, well, you know what, Michelle? I do think that craft roulette is something that it's because it's a community. There are some sort of inside tips and inside jokes of sorts. But I think that maybe if you did a couple more sessions of it, maybe you'd become a little bit more accustomed to it. And I think craft roulette is a lot just about getting involved, being present in the chat, sharing in the gallery, submitting to the website. So I wouldn't totally knock it out right now. Give it a couple more times and see how you feel after that. I'm sorry though, after one time, if you felt like it was a little too out of place, but I don't think that it's intended to be, it's of course not exclusionary at all. But also, you know what, Michelle? Maybe World Card Making Day is a good time for you to join the Craft Roulette live stream because it's going to be a little bit of a different structure and it's going to be some really well-known creators out there. So maybe that'll be a good time to sort of get a change of pace with it and give some time to see if maybe you catch on with it or not catch on with it. That sounded not appropriate. But just sort of if you get more like acclimated maybe to some of the terms. Just a thought, you know? All right, so I'm going to clean this off. A shimmer would be so pretty. Oh, sparkle splatter. Yeah, Wolf Mama, I love some sparkle splatter. I love, love, love my sparkle splatter. So here you go. You can see it. Some of our splatters are bigger than others, but that's okay. So we're going to set this panel aside so it dries, and then we can work on some other items. So I just want to clean this up really quick. I think, yeah, Michelle, I think that that would be fun because it's going to be a lot of creators that maybe not be like always in the realm of doing craft roulette all the time. I know when I did it in March, it was my first time participating and I just kind of leaned into it and had fun with it. I've emailed with Mary a handful of times since then, and one of the things I did was, oh my gosh, so my craft roulette story was, you get the option to as like one of the guests, I get to veto one of the parameters, and the one thing I didn't want to do was make a card with 3 tags on it because I was like, I don't want to deal with gift tags, and my card, so I vetoed 3 tags, and then I got my card, my type of project was card with a tag. So I had to make a tag anyway. And so I was making my card. I'm like, well, I need a second tag so that it's like backed up and everything looks kind of even. And then as I'm making my card, I very quickly realized that I need to put a 3rd tag on there to make it look balanced. So we came up with the term veto repo because I ended up totally disregarding what I vetoed and ended up doing it anyway. And I thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, all right. Glass mat is cleaned. Let's work on our all is calm sentiment and let's talk about the glitter paper that I'm going to be using. And that is, so Altenew's got these gradient glitter cardstocks, and I'm using the Brilliant Red blend, and this is the garnet glitter paper. So there's red spinel, garnet, and brown diamond, and I just thought that that garnet color is super pretty, so we're gonna play with that. Sylvia says you did awesome. Thank you so much. I tried. I tried and I had a lot of fun with it. You know what? I must have done okay if I'm doing World Card Making Day with it as well, right? So I think that's fun. All right, so we've got our all is calm sentiment. I've also prepared all of my die cuts. I usually do this. I usually don't talk about it. I use the stack and sort trays from scrapbook.com, and I use them with the coordinating silicone mats that are inside of it because it allows my die cuts to not really shift around or like swish. I can kind of keep everything lined up exactly how I want them to, and then just sort of stack them accordingly. So I do love my stack and sort trays. I use them honestly all the time. I use them for every single live stream for certain, but I even use them beyond that. They are some of my favorite products. And then also talking about scrapbook.com right now, scrapbook.com is currently celebrating their anniversary, and all scrapbook.com exclusive products, so including like the stack and sort trays, are currently an additional 25% off. So I believe what it is, and if you guys haven't checked it out, definitely do. I've got some scrapbook.com links in the comments. Go to the scrapbook.com website, and anything that has like the scrapbook.com icon on it, but that isn't an SBC Fest bundle, those don't count. They get an additional 25% off of it. And it's got to be a scrapbook.com product, not like a product made for scrapbook.com from another company. For example, I don't believe like the Rose Quartz Misty qualifies, or the Rose Quartz Platinum 6. I don't believe those qualify, but if you've been eyeballing like a scrapbook.com exclusive die set, anything like that, they are currently offering an additional 25% off, which is one of the largest discounts I see scrapbook.com offer. I know they've got promos throughout the year, and they've always got some great free with purchase offers, but in terms of percentages, I have never seen a percentage off of 25% before, so that's a really good deal going on. And I do love my scrapbook.com products very much. So if you've been eyeballing anything, if you've been hearing me talk about my favorite 3mm foam strips, those would be on sale. Oh my goodness, I love my foam strips so much. We're going to be using some very shortly in this card. I just want to make sure this is all nice and cleaned. All right. So I've got that nicely into place. Perfect. So we've got our all is calm, and I really like this sentiment. So let's talk about that timeless sentiment die set. Altenew has some wonderful word die sets, and this one is, I kind of thought at first it was a Christmas die set, and I think it's because I saw the peace and joy, but when I read all of them, because there's 7 of them, I was looking at them, I'm like, they're not all Christmas, like saying like shine bright or grateful or do good, good news. Those are all pretty standard, can be used whenever. I do think, of course, peace and joy and all is calm lean into the holidays. And I think you could make an argument for believe, but believe can really be for anything, like believe in yourself, like just believe in the process. I mean, believe in what, in anything. But I really love this timeless sentiment set. And of course, they always give you a really nice example on the back of like what you could use it with. And this says like you could use it with like the Here Comes the Sun hot foil plate with the brass hot foil, but also jet black cardstock. I love that they have suggestions on their packages. It just makes it super easy to use. Oh yeah, with glitter, totally gonna be pretty, absolutely. And it's just a nice little shimmer. So let's go in, let's take some foam strips and just get it ready on the back of it. I'll take one strip. So these are my go-to 3, and you know what, now that I'm looking at it, I accidentally took the backing off of the foam strip next to it. So we're gonna use that one since I kind of mutilated it. And we're gonna put this back on just like that. We'll save it for another day. All right. I really like using word dies that have frames or outlines like this, because I like that there's a versatility to it. Because you can do them just straightforward, like with a white backer shadow and then colored cardstock. I always like to do a white sentiment on colored cardstock. I think that there's more of a boldness attached to that. But the other thing that you can do whenever your word dies have like a shadow or an outline element is that you can also make a shaker card out of it. So I will often use the shadow to like die cut a shaker window and then go in and actually do a shaker card with it. And then once I put the acetate into place with where the die cut for the sentiment shadow is, I will then adhere the sentiment itself over it. So it's like a shaker sentiment. And I think it's super fun. I just did a card for Kindred Stamps Throwback Week with that. Um, that's another thing going on right now. If you saw Kindred Stamps Throwback Week, we're doing a throwback sale on the website for an additional 20% off of any of the sets featured during Throwback Week. So make sure to check that out as well. Always great options to getting savings, right? All right. Vellum shadows are really pretty, Jennifer. I agree. All right, so we've got this already. I'm going to set that off to the side. Is this dry? So I'm going to tell you guys one of my other tips. And that's talking about getting things to dry appropriately. I don't like using my heat gun to expedite drying, and I'm going to talk about why. I feel like when you use a heat gun, you lose quality of what you're splattering or what you're trying to get dry if it's a liquid. And I feel like it takes away from the vibrancy of it. Scientifically, or what the process is, I have no explanation for it. But I feel like when I go in and I splatter like with a watercolor or I do like an ink smushed background, I don't like to expedite the drying very much because I feel like that vibrancy takes away. So I really like to let my elements naturally dry as best as I can. However, because we're in a live stream, I do sometimes have to pull in the assistance of a heat gun. And what my recommendation would also be is if you're gonna use a heat gun, get something like this heated tool and not your embossing gun, because this heated tool works like a low powered hair dryer. There's a more wider sort of spread of air, and it's also and it's less directed at one area, and it's also a lower speed. So it's like a general heat that's being added in like a slow pace. It gets things to dry, but it's not hot enough that it can actually make that embossing powder melt like an embossing gun would. So I'm just going to kind of use it. There's a couple elements I just want to nicely dry up. We're going to get that going. I just think drying naturally is important. I really do. It's one of those little things that if you have the time, I think really makes your projects pop. Also too, like I'm always really mindful because we don't do it a lot during my live streams. Whenever I work with pastes, I don't like messing with them to let them dry. I like to set them off to the side. I always tell people like set your panel off in an uninterrupted space that it can dry entirely and give it time and don't disrupt it. The best thing I think you really can ever do, but like let's be honest, not a lot of us craft like this, is being able to leave it overnight. But I know that that's how you're going to make sure it dries in its entirety. But I always like to also say uninterrupted, and those are for my my cat friends, because put it in a space where your kitty cat's not going to be able to jump to and walk over it. So I always like to remind of that as well. But oh my goodness, this is so pretty. I might need to use a little bit of liquid adhesive on a couple of these layers just because it's kind of not fully adhering, but not in a bad way. We're fine. Anything that needs to blend on paper like watercolor and ink smooshing for sure looks better drying on its own. I agree, Michelle. You know what, Lisa? That is such a perfect example. Yes. So anything with craft roulette, if you don't know a term or you'll ask about it, their community really is great enough that if someone asks, someone in the chat will clarify for you. Absolutely. All right. So I've got this. Let's go in. Where are we going to put our all is calm? I think it's going to go kind of just like right here. I think that's pretty. All right. We're going to put it right there. And then, oh, I love this. Just all is calm, just nice and sweet with our snowy background and our tree. Looks like snow on the ground. Let's get a card base ready and then let's do some embellishment work. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my scoreboard. And what are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the chat. Should I do a side fold or should we do a top fold? I can do either. But let me, you know what I'll do is I'll just score for both of them right now and I'll let y'all vote on it while we're in the process of it. So thank you so much, Sylvia. You guys are so kind. I love doing these live streams with you. We have such a good time. All right, so I'm going to do a side fold on this one. But if, like I said, let me know in the comment, top fold. I would round the corners before you would hear it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All right, Scrappy Mama says top fold. Sylvia says top fold. I've really been digging my top folds. I tend to lean towards side folds. Barbara, I usually do too, but like Kristen's saying, I've been kind of leaning into top folds lately. I just went through my cards the other day. Actually, no, I went through my cards this morning and I was like, oh, you've been doing a lot more top folds, Justin, than you usually do. And I love it. We've got, all right, so I'm seeing more for top. Okay, okay, still some top. I think this one would be, you know what? We're going to do a top fold for this one. And the reason for it is this is a holiday card. And I feel like holiday cards sometimes end up on people's like counter or on their fireplace mantle, and they're usually more likely to be displayed. And I feel like a top fold card does a better job standing up maybe than a side fold. So let's do that. Oh, Marmar, thank you so much. It is very calm. It was just a nice calm process to make it. So I'm gonna make my top folds. Hey, now I've got 4 extra card bases. We'll use one of them now and I'll save the other ones for later. Lord knows I'm gonna need them. Well, you look at the image and depending on whether it's vertical or horizontal, you base your top fold on that. That's smart. That's a smart idea. Love that. Thanks for sharing. And honestly, you guys, like, I know I'm sitting here going all gung-ho, like, yeah, let's do a top fold. I am usually a side folder. Usually that is just my standard go-to. It's, I think, what we're mostly accustomed to, but I do think it's fun to go in and do those top folds. All right, let's go in, add some liquid adhesive. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but when we blended up our cardstock background, I used Simon Hurley's Stark White cardstock. Usually when I blend on backgrounds, there are 2 cardstocks I default to using. One of them is Simon Hurley's Stark White. The other one I lean into is Catherine Pooler's Favorite White cardstock. And I'm going to tell you why that I lean into those. It's because they're from designers who have put such an emphasis in their own ink lines. And I do truly believe when that's the case, those designers spend the time to make sure they put out a paper that really exemplifies their inks. And I know that they both use dye inks. So Stellar Inks and Catherine Pooler inks are both dye inks, like the Altenew fresh dye inks are. So that's why I wanted to make sure to blend with them. Thank you so much, Lisa. And good afternoon to you too, Lee. Thanks for being here. Wolf Mama, I print card bases 10 or 20 at a time of both, and then I have them ready to go. I need to get so much better with that of just having them. I've been working with like batches of like 4 to 6 at a time, but I really just need to take the time to do it more. All right, I've got another question for you guys, and I kind of think I know where you might vote with this because like one is kind of on the boringer side, but I still utilize it. Let's see. So I wanted to ask you about embellishments. I wanted to pull in 2 of my favorite Altenew embellishments and ask, do we do crystal clear enamel dots or do we do ivory pearl dots? And I'm not going to say what I think you're going to vote. I have my idea, but if you guys want to let me know in the comments which one we want to embellish with, and that's how we'll finish our card off for today. And that'll kind of be the last thing we have to do. But these are 2 embellishments from Altenew that like I kind of have to keep on hand all the time. I love that with these ivories that there's a sense of elegance to them, but I love that these crystal clears really are subtle and can both be used as background embellishment, but also can be used as dewdrops if you're working with like flowers. All right, so let's see. We've got votes coming. I got 1 clear, 1 ivory, 2 clear, 2 ivory, 3 clear, 4 clear, 5 clear, 6 clear, 7, 8, 9. Mail safely, Mary. That's a good idea. We've got 10 crystal clear. So I'm kind of thinking, unless we have a lance. Okay, we got pile of paper saying ivory. So we've got 3 to 10 right now. I know this looks like 5. And look at all the paint that I have on my hands. Oh my gosh. Okay, Michelle says the clear evokes the nature of the tree. All right, so I'm going to say, okay, we were 12, 13. We're going to go with clear. All right, you guys are, ooh, you guys threw me through a loop because I actually thought you were going to pick the ivory to kind of complement all the snow going on, but that's okay. All right, let's go. I love my crystal clear enamel dots. So, all right, so let's go in and add that. Oh, it's going to be so subtle and elegant. I love this. All right, so just kind of go in and add them. Oh, y'all, these are pretty, and they're gonna be so subtle, and I can put them on the trees. Oh, I love this. Y'all got good taste, let me tell you. Thank you for this guidance. I appreciate it much. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's add 2 more. These really are like must-have embellishments, let me tell you. Both of them. All right, so you got 1. I think I'm going to do like 1 over there. Just like 1 little straggler all the way out there. Just like that. Oh, how pretty is that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got our card all completed. You know what? This didn't take too much time. I actually totally changed up my initial thought of what I wanted to do today. I was kind of all over the place. And if I'm also being honest, I have been in not like, I've been kind of sad this week because we lost some really great figures, and I was trying to see if I could maybe make a card to honor one of them, but I didn't know if I could really do it with a wintry theme. So I'm going to kind of put that on pause for now, and I'm sorry to get sad about it, but I was kind of mulling around some ideas of possibly doing a pink and sparkly card, but I didn't really have enough to pull something out on the spot with it. But I love how this one turned out. I think this was a great way of pivoting. One of my go-to techniques with Altenew cards, and you guys will see this often, is pairing one of their keyhole, delicate, intricate dies with one of your favorite die cut sentiment sets or a stamp set that has coordinating outline dies. I've done this a lot. We've done this on this channel together a handful of times, and I just feel like the simplistic nature of it just works so well together. And I really love how these timeless sentiments work with this die set for the, I'm of course forgetting the name, the Chestnut tree die set. And I just really love how the splattered snow looks on top of it. I also think that this red glitter paper for All Is Calm is just the perfect embellishment on here, but we've also got those crystal clear enamel dots. So butterflies for Dolly, you're right. We would have to do that. Yeah, not a winter card. Something with butterflies for sure. When you're ready, would love to see a pink sparkly card. It's gonna happen. It's definitely gonna happen. You know, and Wolf Mama, I kind of thought with this tree, if we could have made like a pink tree, that would have been pretty. But I wanted to lean into winter. I wanted to lean into Christmas. I also too it didn't feel right offering a promo code and then doing like a tribute card. There was something about that just didn't feel right to me. But we'll stay tuned and we'll do that in the future. So, oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let's switch over to my head for a second and talk a little bit more. So, all right, we made our All Is Calm card together. I love how this turned out. I think it is so pretty. Altenew has such gorgeous products, they make it so inspiring to want to just jump in and make something, especially when they have systems like that keyhole system, or they've got really well curated
coordinating stencils that you can ink blend on top of your die cuts. And I really love what they come out with, and it allows us to make cards like this and also spend time talking about it. I'm just kind of looking at this card, just kind of in awe about like it being simple but gorgeous at the same time. So don't forget, I do have that promo code of Justin5 off, and it'll give you $5 off your order of $55 or more on the Altenew website. This does expire on Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, so make sure to snag it by then. Link is in the comments in case you want to go ahead and just go ahead use it that way. And who knows, maybe one of the products that we use today inspires you to make some easy Christmas cards and you want to add that to your stash. And all right, I also want to mention, so next week Saturday is very special. Next week Saturday is my birthday. And I talked last week about that I'm having a party. So, but I also talked about how these live streams make me really happy, and on your birthday, you want to do something happy. So, we're going to do a live stream next week on my birthday on Saturday. So, set your timers or set your alarms or make a mark on your calendar. It's going to be at 10 a.m. I can't do a 1 o'clock. It's too close to having too much stuff done, but I do want to spend some time with my favorite people on my favorite day of the year. Well, not one of my favorite days of the year. So we're going to do something fun together. We're definitely going to make a birthday card. Let me see what I can plan that's special. And I hope you guys could join me next week. So if you can, make sure to set those reminders. Yes, Barbara, this is the Hibachi Chef Party. So I'm very excited about that. So I will be here on my birthday next week, spending some time with my friends and doing a crafty birthday party at 10 a.m. And I hope you can make it. I know it's a little earlier. Get your coffee in my honor. Put a little pumpkin spice in it if you have it. That would really be like my birthday. Oh my God, Luann, you're really close to me. Super, super close in birthdays. Love that. Virgos unite, right? So yes, thank you guys all so very much for being here. I hope that I will see you on my birthday next week and we will have some fun craft together. I have no idea what I'm going to make. I think next week I am just going to pull something new from my stash that I've gotten that just makes me happy. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be something that's a birthday card. Who knows? It might have a holiday twist to it or something, but we'll see. So thank you guys so, so very much for being here. Make sure if you haven't yet already, if you like my video, subscribe for future inspiration. We've got some fun things coming up that I can't wait to share with you. And I can't wait to see you guys very soon. So thanks again. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye. Ooh, you always got to remember where that button is, right? All right, goodbye.